What's up, y'all? Welcome to the SOS podcast, and today we're talking basketball. Playoff Jimmy is real, the Clippers are cursed, and I can't tell you who's going to win this year. Let's get into it. The Bucks were the betting favorite, so to see them upset in the first round probably ruined a lot of people's brackets. The fact that Jimmy Butler willed his way to victory is so insane. Like, some of his shots were either highly contested or off balance, but he just made him anyways because he's that good. That's crazy. I feel bad for Giannis. He played with a semi-injured back and never once complained about it. Like, yeah, he missed 12 free throws, but he still finished with 38 and 12. If you watch the game, you can't say Giannis didn't play good. The only legit terrible thing I think he did was throw away the ball at tip-off, like that last tip-off they did with 6 seconds left. And that was just running from smoke, and Drew Holiday ended up missing one of the free throws too, so karma, I guess. I like the answer he gave the reporter, like sports doesn't really have any failures, and I really hope he comes back a lot better next year. Maybe like this will be like the last straw for him. He's gonna go finally perfect his jump shot. Like, yeah, it's gotten better each year, but it's not like smooth. It's not like a KD shot or a Brandon Ingram shot. You know what I'm saying? But there's only so much you can do if Jimmy Buckets is like in his bag 2 games in a row. Like, I mean, they lost in 5. Like, the first seed losing in 5, bro. I don't know. Is this like the first playing team to ever win a series? By the way, I don't even know. Also, I don't usually hate on coaches because I know there's a lot they do outside of the game that fans don't usually see. But I think Mike Budenholzer's stint with the Milwaukee Bucks is officially over. Like, he really made no adjustments in these last 2 games to stop Jimmy. Just Drew's gonna guard him better or something. I don't know. Bam had like 10 or 11 assists, and like a lot of them was just like passing to Jimmy, who's just cutting on the baseline every single time. And like they didn't even try like super hard to deny Jimmy the ball, like something like they do with Steph Curry or like other like dominant players. And let's not even talk about the final play. Like, you have 2 timeouts, 8 seconds, and neither Giannis, Middleton, or even Drew has the ball. Call a timeout, my guy. All in all, just a coach diff, I guess. On the Western side, the Kings and Warriors series continues to stay close, neck and neck. I had the Warriors winning in 5, but clearly I was wrong. I think they'll most likely win at home on Friday and finish the series, but it was definitely a way closer series than I thought. I never watched college ball, so I didn't know the Kentucky boys were like that. Malik Monk kind of cooled down, but De'Aaron Fox is like, he's still in his bag. Curry's doing his thing, and hopefully the minutes don't get to him. But like, shout out Draymond. Like, that last game, he went berserk off the bench. 21 points, 7 assists, 4 steals, and a block. He just went buck in the clutch too. Like, he got 2 clutch steals. He had that Dirk Nowitzki shot. He even hit a 3 in the corner. Yeah. Fox's finger seems a little fucked. Like, I think he can still drive and dribble okay, but his jumper doesn't really look like it's all that there. And as a fellow shooter, I know how annoying it is, and like, finger injuries are, yeah. As for the Lakers, I think their Friday game is probably just going to be an easy blowout win. I was surprised they lost game 5, but I guess Ja and like all the bench players were in their duffel. Also, like, LeBron on the bench kind of seemed a little worn out. On a side note, like, to the people who say like AD isn't playing good, you're a casual. AD is actually playing out of his mind right now on the defensive end. Like, regardless of how much points he scores, he's swatting shots left and right. He's easily guarding 1 to 5. And a lot of the Lakers' points come from the fact that the Grizzlies are putting so much effort in denying AD the ball. I hate it when like these highlight and scoreboard watchers like make these fake ass narratives. But game 5 was an exception because I don't think like LeBron will be this tired next game, and I don't think the Memphis bench is going to be this consistent, especially against like one of the best home crowds in the league. All right, next I want to talk about a player who's kind of becoming my favorite to watch, and he's performed exceptionally well 2 playoffs in a row. And that's Jalen Brunson. Now, I already mentioned how I feel about him and Harden and how they're insane all-star snubs. Or maybe I did. Well, that's how I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but that's how I feel. So he's just so good at basketball, man. And like, call me biased because not only did he save the Knicks season, but he also saved my fantasy season. So shout out Jalen Brunson, man. He's a big reason why I won fantasy. I personally don't think Julius Randle is the best number one option, but he's still pretty solid, and especially when there's someone like who can relieve him of some pressure, he shows up. He shows up when he does. I actually drove from Toronto to Cleveland to watch Game 2, and it was sick to see all these amazing players live. Yeah, it was a blowout, but nonetheless, I had a great time. The tickets weren't that expensive. It was my first ever playoff game, and the vibes were like crazy. I also got a free shirt and a free towel, which is always nice to have. I'm just really shocked that this series wasn't close. Like, I thought this series would be the only one that would go to 7, but like I knew Jalen Brunson was him, but I didn't know he was him. You know what I'm saying? Nuggets Wolves ended just like I thought. I'm surprised the Wolves even got a game, so shout out them. It's funny how the Donovan Mitchell team and the Rudy Gobert team both lost in 5. I think playoff Murray is also a thing. Last time he was in the playoffs, the Nuggets made it to the Western Conference Finals, don't forget. And on the bright side for Timberwolves fans, Anthony Edwards seems to get better and better each year. It's crazy how rapidly he's growing. He'll definitely make some huge noise next year. But as for the Wolves organization, like as a whole, I think they really need to make some trades because the Gobert Towns thing's just straight up not working out. One bad thing that happened is like those 2 people suing Edwards because apparently he hit them with a chair, like 3rd-degree assault or something. That's so crazy and that's so big. Like, I get it, get your bag or whatever, but like, I don't know, it just seems a little bit malicious, like you want to be a victim so bad, or I don't know, like what do I know, right? Let's just move on. I'll quickly just talk about the Philly series. They easily swept the Nets, and they've been resting up pretty nice. That's Philly's kind of my team this year because I knew the Raps weren't really gonna make like some huge noise, and that's fine. Suns and Clippers, that could have been a pretty crazy series, but Kawhi tore his meniscus, and he was actually playing crazy minutes those last few games of the season. And even though he was like Kawhi Leonard in those first few games of the series, like I guess it just caught up to him. It sucks. He sat all season, so he wouldn't be injury prone, but then he gets injured anyways. But on another note, Jimmy and Kawhi, before he got injured, were probably the best players in the playoffs, and well, so far, and like they came into the league as like role-playing defenders, and they just kept working and working on their game. So there's an upside to working hard, guys. As for the Suns, they're really good. I just hope that like nobody gets injured because they're not that deep at all. Like even if Torrey Craig gets injured, that's like a huge hit for their roster, and like that'll affect them a lot. Also shout out like Westbrook and Norman Powell. Like they tried their best to keep the team afloat, but of course they're just overpowered. Like KD, Book was going off, even CP3 was going off, Aiden, like it was just too much for them to handle. All right, so now that we're done talking about the past, let's talk about the now. So tonight's the Hawks and Celtics games, and I thought the Hawks were gonna get swept by the Celtics, so I rate them for still being in it. And even though like the Celtics are the ones that are up 3-2, they seem to be fighting some like serious demons right now or something, bro. They got to win one tonight away in the Hawks arena, and if they lose, they're pressured to not lose the 3-1 lead, and they got to win the 7th game. Meanwhile, like DeJounte Murray's all hyped up for like Trae Young winning without him, and Trae Young himself is just reaching deep in his bag, hitting these next level shots, and like dime after dime. Like that game winner the other day was so wild. He took a step to throw Jalen Brunson off and then just snatched it back and shot from deep. A lot of people say that's bad defense, but they clearly only watch ball and never play. Like if he guarded him any closer, Trae Young would have just blown by him, floater, pass, and it was like a 1-point game. So they couldn't afford no points at all, not just a 3. So I don't know. I really didn't think this series would be at the point where it is. But hey, more rest for Philly and more entertainment for me. So win-win. All right, with everything being said, this postseason is definitely one of the more intriguing ones. There are a lot of teams that can win it all, and it'll definitely affect the legacy of a lot of our favorite players. I'm personally rooting for Philly in the East, and in the West, I'll probably be rooting for Golden State just because I love Steph Curry. But I honestly wouldn't be surprised if either team loses in the second or even third round. Nobody can really predict these things. There's so many tangibles like player consistency, team chemistry, injuries, and sometimes in the playoffs, like we saw with Jimmy Butler last night, some players just go in God mode. They go in the zone, from Crocono Basket, and you just can't do nothing about it. Also, regarding the NBA awards, if you listen to my last podcast, you already know your boy got every single award right. Coach of the Year, Clutch Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, Most Improved, Sixth Man. You know me, man. I guess I just know basketball. What can I say? The only one left is MVP, and let's hope our boy Joel finally gets his first. There's a lot more shit to come, guys. I'm kind of just in playoff mode right now. I just been doing nothing but like watching basketball. So like I haven't really been doing anything else. I just been watching like the weekly Demon Slayer episode or reading the weekly One Piece chapter. But like once things die down a bit and there's only like one or two playoff games per week, I'll definitely give you guys the exquisite anime opinions of a film student. Well, that's it for this episode. Thank you for tuning in. My name's Abhay Dingra. I'll catch y'all later.